गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. We are looking at the third question of Prashnopanishad, and here we are in the 8th verse today, and we saw how the pranas function inside. Now we are seeing how the pranas function outside. Adityoha vai bahya prana udayatyesha yenam chakshusham pranam anugrunhanaha prithivyam ya devata saisha purushasya pana avashtabhya antarayadakashah sa samano vayur vyanaha. And this we were looking at it last week, and there it was told that just like we have that one Jivatma, he alone expresses the Mukhya Prana. Jivatma is the Mukhya Prana, the Jiva is the Mukhya Prana. He is the riddle that we have to solve, and that is the question that the student has asked. Who is this Jiva? How does he enter the body? How does he maintain himself in the body, etc., etc.? And having told all that, now we are looking at the Adi Bhautik, and that is the outside, Anupadik. And how outside also, because what is inside alone is outside. So here it says, certainly Aditya, that is the sun alone, is the prana, the Mukhya Pran outside. Mukhya Pran, the Jiva outside. He alone graces the various senses, and then the senses are able to, for example, the eyes are able to see only when the sun comes up. In the darkness we are not able to see, and in fact when the sun rises, all the jivas, all the people, all the life as if starts getting activated. And similarly, that is so sun is the prana. And then it was told, prithivyam ya devata saisha purushasya apana avashtabhya. So just like in the Prithvi, the devata of the Prithvi is that person. And who is that person? What is that devata of the Prithvi? Who is that? It is called Prithvi Devata here. And this Prithvi Devata, he attracts the Apan Vayu, and because of that we are all able to stand on the earth, and everything is staying on the earth and not floating around. And between this Prithvi, the Apan, and the sun, the Pran, the space in between, the area in between is the Saman. And till here we had seen in our last week class, and there it was so till here we saw last week, and now he so Prithvi is the Apan at the level of outside, sun is the Pran outside, the space between the sun and the earth is the Saman outside, Just like in us, where was the pran? In the panchendriyas. Where was the apan? In the anus and the genitals. What was the space in between? That is the saman. Now, naturally, what is the next? Vyana. So, so here it says, Yada akashah sa samano vayur vyanaha. So, the space between the akash, between the sun and the earth, is the saman, and vayur vyanaha. What is vayur vyanaha? Vyana is the immediate air on the earth, which has not become praan yet by entering us. So, the breeze that is going on around, the air element on the earth, that is the vyana. And in this way, now we move to the ninth. I think we had seen the bhashya for this one. Tejo hava udanaha, tejo hava udanaha, tasmad upashanta tejaha, tasmad upashanta tejaha, punarbhavam indriyaihi, punarbhavam indriyaihi, manasi sampadyamanaihi, manasi sampadyamanaihi. Together. तेजोह वा उदानः तस्माद् उपशांत तेजाः पुनर्भवम् इंद्रियैः मनसि संपद्यमानैः. So what does he say here? Tejoh va udanah. So we have seen pran, apan, vyan and saman and vyan. Now udan is left. So what is udan? Here it is told that the heat of the sun is the udan, and therefore that heat alone is the heat within the body. So here the udan was that which is continuously moving upwards. What was that? What moves upwards within us? The fire moves, the digestive fire moves upwards. The udan vayu moves upwards. Similarly, here also the heat in the is the external heat, and it is because of this heat that the body is maintained, and in this way. And then it says tasmad thereafter or therefore upashanta tejaha, means when the heat starts becoming cooler, starts becoming less in its intensity, then punarbhavam indriyair manasi sampadyamanaihi. Then this heat along with the indriyas. What were the indriyas? They were the karmendriyas, panchagnanendriya, panchamahabhut, etc., etc. All mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, all that. It takes that heat takes it along with it and goes and takes birth again in another body. Or other words, at the time of death, it leaves the body along with all this and eventually moves out. So what is the bhashya here? 9th verse. यत् बाह्यं ह वै प्रसिद्धं सामान्यं तेजस्तत् शरीर उदान उदानं वायुम अनुगृह्णाति स्वेन प्रकाशेन इति अभिप्रायः. So here it is told, what is outside, when we take the sun, the heat of the sun outside itself is the is the udan, its heat, the tej of it. That is the udan vayu. Where it is udan vayu? The outside also, and that heat outside is the heat within, and therefore that heat within itself is called the udan. And the meaning is that that the sun by its light attracts the udan vayu towards it. So just like the heat is attracted towards the sun, so if the sun's the heat of the sun, the heat of the earth is continuously moving upwards. In other words, what he wants to say here is the heat's movement is never southwards, it's always northwards. And to the north, what is there? The sun. So that which is continuously moving upwards is the udan, and therefore it graces that udan vayu. And yasmat tejah swabhavah bahya tejah anugruhita utkranti karta tasmad yada laukikah purushah upashanta teja bhavati. And this udan vayu, it is of the nature of heat. Yeah, that's what we said. And because it is upward moving, utkramana, because it utkranti karta means it's moving up, and because it's moving upwards, so therefore when the person is about to become quiet, is about to die at the time of the death, and what is the time of death? When the heat in the body is becoming less and less. In other words, his body is becoming cooler and cooler. At that time, when what is happening? The heat, what is the heat in his body? Udan vayu. That is becoming less and less. So understand that that person is about to conclude. Upashantam swabhavikam tejo yasya saha. That means he is going to become quiet permanently. Who? The body. Tadatam kshinayusham mumurshu vidyat. That time you consider that person to be dead. Sa punarbhavam sharirantaram pratipadyate. So then when this, I will explain to you further all this, but when he moves out, he goes and occupies another body. Katham pratipadyate. Katham, how does he do that? Sahendriyair manasi sampadyamanaihi pravishadbhir vagadibihi. So it is said that all the indriyas and the karmendriyas and the pancha mahabhutas, everything merges back into the mind, and after all the seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, all the faculties, they go back, and they all go away with the udan vayu. In this way, see, what we said before was that as long as our internal temperature is maintained, till then we are alive. When the temperature starts going down, then we are ready to die, and this jiva is ready to leave the body, and therefore udan vayu. Where does udan vayu leave the body from? Udan vayu leaves from the should leave from the sushumna, and when it leaves from the sushumna, it is that which leaves that heat from the body in the form of Udan Vayu, when it is leaving the body through the Sushumna, that heat is nothing but the heat outside, and it's merging, the individual heat is merging with the total heat. Understand in this way. And therefore, we see that one prana, one mukhya prana, one jiva himself has divided himself into pran, apan, vyan, udan, saman at the individual level, and pran, apan, vyan, udan, saman at the totality level. At the individual level, he is called the jivatva. At the totality level, he is called the ishwaratva. In this way, one must not become, well, that will come in the, they will say afterwards that one must not be afraid because you are not going anywhere. So there is nothing called death. It's only the individual heat merging with the total heat. The individual air merging with the total air. The individual consciousness merging into the total consciousness. So it is the same reality, even looked at from the wholesomely. It is that one Brahman, one reality, which is expressing at the totality level as the five pranas, and at the individuality level as the five pranas. That is as the jiva and the ishwarata. Both jivatva and ishwaratva are expressions of that one reality. See, don't forget that. If both are expressions of the, so that one reality alone is expressing as two, that one man alone is expressing as the father and the husband. That same water is appearing, expressing as the various wave, ocean, the totality, and wave, the individuality. Where is the problem? If the wave dies, is there anything called death? If the wave dies, it has gone back to the ocean or the water, whichever way, whatever the thought it entertained at the last moment. But if it was thinking that I am a wave, why am I dying? It will come, and it has done. It has not done any bad to other waves, and it has not been. It has remained. The praan and apan are equanimous. Then it will come back as a wave. What foolishness! What foolishness! Wait till the I don't know if it in this verse or the next verse it will be explained. The foolishness will be explained. So at the time of death, what happens? Here it says, yat chittaste naisha pranamayati, yat chittaste naisha pranamayati, pranasteja yuktaha pranastejasa yuktaha sahatmana yatha sankalpitam, sahatmana yatha sankalpitam lokam nayati. Together, yachittas te naisha pranamayati pranastejasa yuktah sahatmana yatha sankalpitam lokam nayati. So here it is told, yat chittas te naisha pranamayati, meaning whoever is dying, however his mind is oriented. What is the sankalp? Sankalp means what are the thoughts that are at the time of death, what type of thoughts he is entertaining. With those thoughts, with all the sankalpas, with all the memories, he he goes to where are we? ah, uh, uh, whatever his thought is at the last moment when he's dying, with that he comes to the prana, pranam ayati, means he comes to the pranas. Where are we? Pranas tejasa yuktah saha atmana. So, and then it comes to the prana which is united with, there it is expressing as the udan vayu, the fire, the heat element, and that to that prana, which is here we will take it as jiva. The jiva with the fire leads, means goes to the atman, to the desired world. Meaning, if you have been contemplating on guilts and regrets, go to hell. If you have been having desires of unreasonable desires, then go to heavens. If we saw that before, if your ida and pingla, if pran and apan are equal, then you are born back into the manushya yoni, and in this way understand. So now you work towards your death. We saw there is no death in Kathopanishad. Here we are talking about death. Next chapter will be going beyond death. But if you are stuck in the relativity, if you are obsessed with the body, with the relations, with the positions, with the form, with the senses, with the health and ill health, with achievement, ambition, survival, investment, etc., etc., then whatever thoughts you have cultivated over your life, we don't know when the last moment is going to come. So be alert what you are entertaining in your mind. So whatever we have entertained, that will be the place where that sankalpa will, the udan vayu will take you to that particular loka, to that yoni, to that body, etc., etc. So here the Bhashya says, Yat chitto bhavati tenaiva chittena sankalpendriyaihi sah pranam mukhya prana vrittim ayati. Here it says, whatever each person's mind is, according to that sankalpa, that jiva, along with the indriyas, and with the help of prana, in other words, because see, jiva is a thought in your mind. I am an individual is a thought in your mind. There is Ishvara is a thought in your mind. I am a body is a thought in your mind. I have done bad things in my life is a thought in your mind. I am a good person is a thought in your mind. My Ida and Pingla, both of Ida is also a thought, Pingla is also a thought. They are balanced is a thought. They are not balanced is a thought. Sushumna, nobody had told, if you cut the body, you will not see Sushumna. But people experience it. And that Sushumna, why? Because the mind has become so obsessed and convinced that there is something called Sushumna. And people start seeing, feeling, experiencing hot gold going through their spine. They feel very other different experiences, like ants crawling as the kundalini rises, or that means the heat rises as the sushumna opens up and the udan vayu enters it, or they feel that the frog is jumping in their spine. It becomes ramrod straight, and incalculable energy starts expressing through you. All these are mental constructs. All these are mental constructs of whom? Of Jiva. Who is Jiva? The one who does, he is the riddle that we are trying to solve. Why we are trying to solve? Because that is our experience right now. I feel I have been born, I feel I am the body, and therefore these questions were in this Prashnopanishad, these questions of who is this praan, who is, from where did life get created, etc., etc., all these questions were asked. So here he says, that, where are we? मरणकाले क्षीणेन्द्रियवृत्तिः सन्मुख्यया प्राणवृत्त्यैवावतिष्ठत इति अर्थः. See, at the time of death, it is told that where are we? At the time of death, along with the indriyas and the thought of the indriyas, the mukhya pran gets established in that thought, and then it says, tadabhivadanti jnataya uchchavasiti jivatiti, and then it says, at that moment, the people say that some people say that he's still breathing. His still breathing is felt even though there is no life in the body, because the udan vayu is still moving, and that is the feeling that people get, or the jeev gets. Sacha pranaha tejasah udana vrittya yuktah san sahatmana swamina bhoktra sa evam udana vritti eva yuktah pranah tam bhoktaram punya papa karma vashadi वशाद्यथा संकल्पितम यथा अभिप्रेतम लोकम नयति प्रापयति. So he says that that prana, which is none other than the heat, which is none other than the udana vritti, because pran, apan, vyan, udan, saman, what are they? Don't start looking. Yes, their functionality we saw. One is in the top, one is in the anus, one is in the middle between the pran and apan, all that we saw inside and outside. But in the end, what is pran, apan, vyan, udan? What is a jeev? What is the mukhya pran? What are we talking about? They are all nothing but thoughts in the mind. Understand this. It's only a mental construct. So this pran with the heat, that is, which means that the udana, the thought of the udana vayu, or the heat, it goes back to the atma, and what is that? What does it mean that it goes back to the atma? It goes back to where it came from. Also, that jiva who was desiring and who was lost in papa, punya, etc., according to his sankalpas, according to his thoughts, transports that jiva, transports that, the udan vayu transports that jiva according to his sankalpa, whatever his thoughts are, to the required loka. And so if you are looking for heaven, make sure at the last thought you think of heaven. But if you think of a your doggy, your puppy, then be ready to be born as a puppy in a good house. Yeah. So just like we see that all the spokes of a wheel are surrendered in the hub, just like we see from the fire the various sparks are coming out. Similarly, we saw from the jiva the panch pranas came out, and when the time of conclusion is nearing, then all that came out. What came out? The panch pranas. Where did they function, or what were they supporting? The five jnanendriyas, the five karmendriyas. Everything goes back to the source. Everything goes back to the cause. These were the effects. The mukhya prana or the jiva was the one who became all of them, as if, just like the Paramashiva as if became Shiva Shakti. Similarly, this mukhya prana as if bifurcates itself into the pancha pranas, and in this way, and they were pran, apan, vyan, udan, and pran, apan, vyan, and pran, apan, vyan, and saman. We will not use udan here. So all the four pranas are pulled; they go back to the source. Udan is left. So Indriyas go back to the source. The karmendriyas go back to the source, because that's all a thought. And then what happens? Then everything has gone back to the source. That jiva is left. He has all the faculties and all its expressions have come back to him. Did he ask them to come back? No, but that is the nature of the jiva. That is the nature of the jiva. And then that udana vayu, then it the jiva is ready to go, and with the help of udana vayu, it leaves the body. And so what is the purpose of telling all this? Why are we indulging in this type of knowledge? Why are we concluding that? What are we getting? Because our attention is, what is in it for me? If I am studying this Upanishad and I am studying this question, what am I getting out of it? What you are getting out of is, if you are understanding it correctly, you become fearless. And you become fearless because with what we have told you, you understand that there is nothing called death. Because this body was not able to support, now you collected all your faculties and you move on to the next body. As long as you think you are an individual. But are we here to establish individuality? No. But then these type of questions about individuality, they act as an itch within us. We want to understand the world. Where has this world come from? Where has this Virat come from? So here, what is the vision that is given to us? That the panch pranas within, the panch pranas outside, they are one and the same. So there is no death when you leave. And this way, so we saw that at the time of death, when people say that someone is breathing, the that the breath is still going on in that dead person, it seems. I have had an experience with my grandfather. He was dead at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. The call came and I went to the nursing home, and the first thing we did was give him Ganga Jal. He was already gone for 3 hours technically, but when we gave, the lips were open and we put the Ganga Jal, 3 spoons into his mouth. It went there. It was as if it was swallowed. And it's not my imagination. I was not alone to see that. See? So what happens at that time? That tejas, the heat, keeps the Udan Vayu separate at the time of death. At the time of death, as Udan Vayu is the propelling force to make the jiva leave the body. That's why all other 4 pran, apan, saman, vyan, they go back, but Udan is not going back. Udan is still got a job to do. And in this, concluding, it is the Udan Vayu which takes takes us to the other body. So this individuality is not separate to totality. This Jivatva and Ishwaratva are not separate, they are expressions of the same one. And it is the same reality which is functioning from the totality point of view, is the same reality. From the individuality point of view, it's the same reality. Recognizing this, be fearless, O student. Don't be afraid of death. Don't be afraid of death. So, what has happened there? Why it is called as Jivatva and Ishwaratva? It's on account of the conditionings. One is the total conditionings, and at the Jiva level is the individual conditionings, the Upadhi. So on account of Upadhi, just like a man on account of conditioning of wife is called a man. If there is no wife, is called a husband. If there is no wife, you will not call a man a husband. It's only in reference. Similarly, here also the infinite reality with reference to the individual conditionings is called as the Jivatva, and with reference to the total conditionings is called as the Ishwaratva. And this reality is the one which supports both, but is unaffected, uninfluenced, is not enslaved by both. It is independent, even though it is expressing in and through them, and so on. And this way, so what is the conclusion? That the individuality and totality, both of them, they appear to be separate. They appear to be separate, but are not separate. The water, the wave and the ocean appear to be separate from the waters, but actually there is no separation. Similarly, individuality, Jivatva, and totality, the Ishwaratva, they appear to be separate, but actually they are nothing but that one Paramatma, one Brahman. This is where our attention must go if we want to benefit from this Upanishad. Otherwise, oh my God, now I have to start working Ida Pingla. I should do in breath, out breath, Anulom Vilom, and balance my breath so that my Kundalini opens up, and then this will happen, then that will happen, and I have to take care of my thoughts, blah 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 blah. We get lost into doing. The doer is the problem. Don't become a doer. Ego expresses as the doer. Ego expresses as the desirer. Then what do we do? Be the witness. Be the witness. Build up enough strength, inner strength, that you are able to see that you are separate from the mind. Right now, you are totally interwoven, intermingled. You don't see yourself other than the mind. You don't see yourself as other than the body. Like you are seeing me in the screen, or you are seeing other things in the room. Same way you should be able to see your body. Same way you should be able to see your pancha pranas. Same way you should be able to see your senses. Same way you should be able to see your thoughts. This is only possible when we are the witness. When we will be the witness? When we accept that we are that one reality which is untouched. Rather than again and again crystallizing into an individual, take the position of the witness, which is because everything else that you know or you don't know is a thought alone. And when we start looking that Jivatva and the Ishwaratva are nothing but expressions of that one reality, then automatically all the qualities, the Ashtasiddhi, the powers, they start expressing out of such a person. And then such a person is called as Bhagwan. And because he has come to realize that there is no end, there is no conclusion, life does not conclude. When he realizes in this life alone, if he realizes that there is no conclusion in this life, there is nothing called death, such a person becomes immortal. He goes beyond mortality. Mortality is being afraid. I don't want to go to hell, I want to go to heaven. Look at it from Krama Mukti point of view. From Krama Mukti point of view, you recognize that the individual merges into the total, and the total at the time of Pralaya goes back to his source. What is that? He goes back to the Paramatma. Or from Vedantic point of view, not Karma Mukti, here and now. Because in Karma Mukti, what is there? The doer is still there. I have to purify, I have to purify, I have to purify, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to balance the breath, I have to raise my Kundalini, I have to merge into the totality, and oh my God, how can I see the Paramatma in the whole creation? I have to have a change in my vision. All these type of thoughts keep you tangled in duality. But it's okay. At least you are thinking of something higher. You're thinking of merging into the totality. You have understood that the inner pancha pranas and the outer pancha pranas are one and the same. And when these pancha pranas, individual pancha pranas, merge into the total pancha pranas, instead of searching for next body, next yoni, next life, you have recognized that, array, this is the total. You merge into the total. The wave merges into the ocean. And when the floods come, the pralaya comes, the ocean merges back into the water. Similarly, the Virat Purush. Therefore, in our our culture, Hindu culture, Sanatan Dharma, the Surya Upasana is very important, because Surya is the Virat. He is maintaining the outer world for us. Surya was the first teacher of Hanumanji, remember? In Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, the Lord says, I gave this knowledge first to Surya Devata. So, depending upon what thoughts you are entertaining, the Udan Vayu helps the Jiva to leave the body and go to the appropriate place that the Jiva has entertained within his bosom, within his heart, within his mind. Continuing. य एवं विद्वान् प्राणं वेद, य एवं विद्वान् प्राणं वेद, न हास्य प्रजा हीयते, न हास्य प्रजा हीयते, अमृतो भवति तदेष श्लोकः, अमृतो भवति तदेष श्लोकः. Together. य एवं विद्वान् प्राणं वेद न हास्य प्रजा हीयते अमृतो भवति तदेष श्लोकः. Involuntarily, I am already talking about what is given here in this next verse. Ya evam vidwan, that wise person, pranam veda na hi asya praja hiyate amrito bhavati, the one who knows what we just explained, which was written, which what I told you towards the end just now, that is between the lines. The attitude of approach, the angle of approach that the Upanishad is secretly telling us. So what does it say? That such a wise man who knows it in this manner, that the Jivatva and the Ishwaratva is one and the same, and of such a person, the praja, praja hiyate, amrito bhavati, the praja does not get destroyed, meaning the body does not get destroyed. How does the body not get destroyed? We will see it in our not next class, don't worry, in the Bhashya. Yah kaschid evam vidwan yatha uktam yathokta visheshanaihi vishishtam utpatyadibihi pranam veda janati tasya idam phalam ऐहिकम आमुष्मिकम च उच्यते. So here it says that that wise man who in this way recognizes the prana in all the explanations that we gave. Prana, that is the technical understanding at the relative level, as well as at the level of individuality and totality. And and what is that? That how is prana born, how, etc. Let, how here it says pranam veda janati tasya idam phalam aihikam amushmikam cha uchyate, that how it is born and how it is leaves, as it was told in the previous mantra. Na न हि न हास्य नैवास्य विदुषः प्रजापुत्र पौत्रादि लक्षणा हीयते छिद्यते. So for such a person who has understood it in the right manner, for him this the result of the one who is living in this life, or with this understanding, or the one who is living for the higher, for Brahman, what is the result that is given here, which it is being told? Pautradi lakshana hiyate chidyate. And what is that? That of such a wise man, the putra pautradi rupa. Pautra pautradi, the children and grandchildren, the bodies of the children and the grandchildren, meaning his extension, he is extending himself through his child, the child is extending himself through his own child, which means he is extending himself to child and the grandchild and so on. It does not end. That even after the body, here it says, patite cha sharire prana sayujya taya amrito amarana dharma bhavati tade tasmin arthe संक्षेपाधि, क्या है वर्ड यार यहाँ पे, हाँ, संक्षेपाभिधायक एष श्लोको मंत्रो भवति. So it says apart from that when his body falls down, that and the pranas, even if the pranas have gone, he attains to immortality, because he has understood what was told in the previous verses. So to explain this, the what was told from verse number 1 till verse number 10 has been in short told in verse number 11, and it is told that such a person attains immortality. See, and that's what we have to. This is the phala, this is the result of understanding in the right manner. So what does it mean that when it says putra pautradi lakshana, the children and the grandchildren of the wise man, the one who is living as a grahastha? Because don't think grahasthas are not wise, they are also wise if they understand it in this way. You are all grahasthas, and who are, so you are also wise because you are studying and you are understanding, and you have putra pautradi, you have children, you will have grandchildren or already have grandchildren, and with this understanding it will be transferred to the next generation. You practice it, you realize it. Okay? You realize that there is nothing called death. So these two type of lineages. One is for the grahasthas. For the grahasthas, it is called Bindu Santati. Bindu Santati means from the virya, from the uh, vitalities, the next generation is created. And in the sannyas marg, it is called Nada Santati. The student is initiated, knowledge is transferred not through virya, not through not physically. It is the knowledge is transferred through word, Nada Santati, through initiation. And the parampara, like we are in the parampara of Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So we are the Nada Santati. We are right from Lord Shiva to Shankaracharya, one Shankaracharya after the other, all the acharyas that have come, etc. The same knowledge is passed on, the baton is handed over. See? So no doubt as to who we are. Therefore, it's not a part of this topic, of this Upanishad at this moment, but it becomes paramount and it becomes very important how Bindu Santati, how you produce your children. Have this knowledge and then produce. Then you see the quality of the jiva. Which jiva? The one who does not exist, that fellow. That fellow. But at the relative level, this seems to be the reality, and when we have taken the relativity as real, then the only way is krama mukti, merging of the individuality into the totality, and eventually the totality will go back to its source. Even though it is always one, but it doesn't realize. We don't realize that. And in this manner, the Bindu Santati is the father-son lineage, and Nada Santati is the parampara, the teacher-disciple relationship which is going on for eternity. You take any text where the Sut Maharaj is telling the Shaunaka, Shivji is telling the Parvati, the Narad Muni is telling Prahlad, or the Sanakadik are telling Maharishi Vedvyas. It's always student and teacher. And that is why, and that is the Nada Santati. So in this way, concluding in the last verse, I think it's the last verse. Yeah, last verse. Utpattimayatim sthanam vibhutvam chaiva panchadha adhyatmam chaiva pranasya vijnayamrutamashnuta iti. Together, Utpattimayatim sthanam vibhutvam chaiva panchadha adhyatmam chaiva pranasya vijnayamrutamashnuta iti. So here it is told that Utpattim, birth, how he enter, how he is created, how does he stay, how does he express himself inside and outside, and how and by knowing all this, these were the questions that were asked from verse 1 till 10, 10 and knowing all these questions and answers to these questions, the being, the jiva, attains to immortality. He certainly attains to immortality. It is 2 times repeated. Vijnayam, having known this, amritam ashnute. Vijnayam amritam ashnute. He knows, he attains immortality. He certainly attains to immortality. उत्पत्तिं परमात्मनः प्राणस्यायतिमागमनं मनोकृतेनास्मिन् शरीरे स्थानं स्थितिं च पायूषस्थादि स्थानेषु विभुत्वं च स्वाम्यमेव सम्राडिव प्राणवृत्तिभेदानां पञ्चदा स्थापनं बाह्यमादित्यादिरूपेण. It's one sentence. अध्यात्मं च एव चक्षुराद्याकारेण अवस्थानं विज्ञाय एवं प्राणम् अमृतम् अश्नुत इति विज्ञाय अमृतम् अश्नुत इति द्विर्वचनं प्रश्नार्थ परिसमाप्त्यर्थम्. The pran, from the Paramatma, the pran is born, he is created, and by the sankalpa of the mind, yatim agamanam manokrutena asmin. So manokrutena. So by the thought, by a sankalpa in the mind, by a desire in the mind, by a thought in the mind, he enters into the body and then stays there. And how does he stay there? What is his place of staying? That the various, as pranapan vyanudan saman, and then there it says sharire sthanam sthitim cha payusha sthadi sthaneshu vibhutvam, that he pervades the whole body through, by dividing itself into by thought. So this division, so you are thinking, or you may be thinking that the pranas enter, and when they enter, then they become. Here we are not saying just that. We are saying that this division is also at the thought level. One thought alone is dividing itself into 5 thoughts. One prana, mukhya prana, alone is dividing itself into the pancha prana. So so he enters into the body, agamanam, and then sthanam, then he stays in the body, and then he vibhutvam. Vibhu means to spread, to pervade the body. Vibhu means to pervade, so he pervades the body, and through, by way of 5 pranas, as we said, and how does he spread himself in the pervade the body? Just as the sun, by manifesting as the pran, apan, vyan, that means apan as the attractive power in the prithvi, the saman, the space between the sun and the earth, and the vyan, that is the immediate air around the earth, and the udan, which is the heat. So just like because of the sun, these five outside pranapan vyanudan saman is possible. Same way it is possible inside also. And we have to understand that the external panchapran and the internal panchapran, they are one and the same. And by knowing this, he says the panchada bhayyam aditya rupena adhyatmam cha eva. Adhyatma means inside. So outside and inside are one. Avasthanam vijnaya evam pranam amritam ashnuta iti. The one who comes to know this gains immortality. This way, the third question of the and okay, iti dvirvachanam prashnartha parisamaptyartham. And with this, the question has been fully answered that was asked. So why it is concluded that when a chapter, they have many places it comes that when the chapter has to be concluded, the last word is repeated twice, just like in Vishnu Sahasranam also towards the end. क्या बोलते हैं, मेरे को यहाँ पे है देख, Nate yanti parabhavam om nama iti. This is also repeated 2 times or 3 times. Then there's one more verse. Where is that? See, Shanka Brunanda Ki Chakri Shanga Dhanva Gadadharaha Rathanga Pani Rakshobhyaha Sarva Praharnayudaha Om Nama Iti. So when it is told 2 times Sarva Praharnayudaha Om Nama Iti, means the Vishnu Sahasranam has concluded. Similarly, this chapter is concluded because it was told Vijnaya Amritam Ashnuta, Vijnayam Amritam Ashnuta iti. By saying it 2 times, we take it to be concluding. So here we see when we are talking about the relativity, remember in the beginning of the Prashnopanishad, we said this is a commentary on the topic in Mundaka Upanishad. And in Mundaka Upanishad, the topic is those Suparnas Yuja Sakhaya, 2 birds on a tree, one looking outwards and one looking within. So the one looking outwards is the relative. The one looking within is the content, doesn't need anything. It is self-established. The one who's looking outside, I want that, I want this, I want that, I don't want this, etc., etc. So that knowledge there in the Mundaka Upanishad was told as Aparavidya and Paravidya. So what we have just now concluded in the first 3 questions of Prashnopanishad is Aparavidya. And now from the 4th question onwards, the Paravidya, the transcendental knowledge, that will be the topic of discussion. That such questions will be asked. Then why was this asked? Because our disposition in this world, when we are moving in this world, when we are looking in this world, where did this world come from? Why did it come from? How did I enter into this body? Where the life came into the body? Some people say that 2 atoms coming together brings about life. Some people say 2 cells come together brings about life. Some people say Bhagwan gave Ashirwad and the life entered in the womb of the mother, where the fetus is. So how does it? Here we have understood now how it comes about. When the a reference is created, but actually speaking, okay, let me complete that sentence. When reference is created, the one the referenced is named. When reference of wife is there, the husband automatically comes about. Similarly, because there is this equipment called Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Manabuddhi, Chitta, Ahankar, etc., automatically the Jiva comes about. And now, because in these three questions we have talked about Jiva for so exhaustively, only to recognize that the 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 uh, the the jiva within is none other than the jiva outside. For our creation, which is on this earth, the sun is the jiva. They are both one and the same. And and when we see that both are one and the same, the maximum we can, when our attention is on the world, I'm saying relativity, then the maximum we can reach is Hiranyagarbha. And when eventually the Hiranyagarbha merges back into to the total reality, then we also go back to the reality. But this is the topic of Aparavidya. As fascinating as it sounds, the outside 5 years, the inner 5 years, the life in here, the life of the cosmos, and oh wow, there must be, this is fantastic. Why? Our extroverted orientation. That's why it seems fascinating. But actually, what are we talking about? In all these three questions, what have we talked about? We have talked about that which does not exist. It was only Sankalpa Matra. By Sankalpa Matra, you have accepted there is a Jiva. By Sankalpa Matra, the Upanishad has explained to you that you yourself enter into the body. Who are you? The infinite reality. On account of identification, on account of acceptance of this, how did the first Sankalpa come? How did the Paramatma think? That is a wrong question. Question is about you. You thought. And you want, Paramatma doesn't want liberation. Paramatma doesn't want anything because it is complete. You and me, who consider ourselves to be the individual, we consider ourselves incomplete. We are looking for immortality. We want to attend satsang so that we can understand, ascertain who we really are. And in that process, first, how did this life come about? How it is existing? Where does it go? These questions, if they are not addressed, we cannot go deeper. So these questions were addressed in the first three questions. And now, in our next question, which will be the fourth question onwards, the next three questions, that is, we will be addressing the Paravidya. And with that, I think we will conclude here, and it was necessary to be taken care of. Otherwise, we talk about something transcendental which is beyond the scope of understanding by the mind, and which is beyond the scope of the speech. Speech cannot illuminate it, mind cannot understand it. That is the topic that is going to be, we are going to delve in through words, through speech. And so that our attention, because we are still individuals, we are still thinking people, we still feel that we are born and one day, before the Upanishad, we are thinking that we are going to die. After Kathopanishad, we realize there is no death. Now we are realizing, at least till this chapter, we are realizing that inside and outside is one and the same. Everything started Sankalpa Matra. And when these questions are addressed, then question about the world, question about relativity will no longer come and hijack our mind, our attention, our focus. And we become, by addressing it, we have resolved it. And now we become completely available to what is going to be presented in the next three questions. That is the scheme. See. So, hope you are enjoying it. I am enjoying it. We'll look at the fourth question in our next class. Here it says, what does it say? इति श्रीमद् परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रीमद् गोविंद भगवत पूज्य पाद शिष्य श्रीमद् शंकर भगवत कृतौ प्रश्नोपनिषद भाष्ये तृतीय प्रश्नः. With this we conclude the third question. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.